My obnoxious new neighbor posted in the building's private Facebook group, announcing his wife was pregnant. Rule number 1. No one is to be on their phone when my wife is nearby. The radiation is dangerous. Rule number 2. Everyone in this building will be in bed by 9 p.m. No TVs allowed. Rule number 3. All dog owners will humanely resolve their pet situation. Dogs carry bacteria. Rule number 4. If any of you young people can't control yourselves, get a hotel room. Don't be making noise in your apartments. And it went on. The group chat fell silent, stunned, but I fired right back. What's the deal? Did we all chip in for the kid in your wife's belly? What does her pregnancy have to do with us? The neighbor and I immediately started trading insults. What he didn't know was that he wasn't just picking a fight. He was picking a fight with a sociopath. One of the neighbors had moved in last month. The husband was Kevin Miller, the wife Brittany. On moving day, Kevin stood downstairs with a megaphone. Hey, a little help here, people. Can't you see how much stuff we have? Are you all blind or just useless? One of the older women from the 5th floor, Mrs. Gable, kindly picked up a PC tower to help. But Kevin immediately shoved a mini fridge into her arms. You don't get to pick and choose when you're helping. Have some decency. A dog could carry that computer up the stairs. Furious, Mrs. Gable put the PC down. That's when Brittany lost it. You just dropped my custom-built PC. You're paying for it. It cost $5,000 to build, so its current value is $10,000. Mrs. Gable was speechless, instantly regretting her kindness. But the couple was relentless, like a pair of junkyard dogs. They hounded her until she Venmo'd them $1,000 just to make them go away. After that, Kevin and Brittany Miller became infamous in the building. Everyone learned to give them a wide berth. The two of them would blast music and get drunk late into the night. When another neighbor complained, they shot back. What, I can't live in my own home? You want absolute silence? What is this, a mort? Someone left a bag of fresh vegetables from the farmer's market outside their door for a minute, and the Millers snatched it. When confronted, they said, "It's hot out." They would have gone bad. You weren't going to eat them all anyway. We were doing you a favor. They even dug up flowers from the community garden and replanted them in their own window boxes, claiming there were plenty to go around. Everyone despised their shameless behavior, but the couple was so thick-skinned and confrontational that most people just gave up. Then came the day Kevin announced Brittany's pregnancy in the Facebook group, complete with a 10-point manifesto. Rule number 5. From 9 to 9:15 a.m., the elevator is reserved. My wife needs to get to work without any delays. Rule number 6. No more DoorDash or Grubhub deliveries. The delivery guys on their bikes are a hazard and might hit my wife. Rule number 7. If you have one of those bratty kids, keep them on a leash when you're outside. No running. Rule number 8. No one over 60 should come near my wife. You all have that old person smell. Rule number 9. All residents are to boil their food from now on. No more frying with oil. The fumes are toxic. Rule number 10. I haven't thought of this one yet, but I will, and you will all follow it. P.S. I also suggest everyone limit their deep breathing. The excess carbon dioxide is bad for my wife. The group went dead silent. I had just gotten back from a business trip and wasn't fully aware of this couple's reputation. So I typed my reply. What's the deal? Did we all chip in for the kid in your wife's belly? What does her pregnancy have to do with us? My apartment number was listed in my group profile. I glanced at it. 301. Then I checked his. 302. He was right next door. A voice memo from Kevin popped up, practically screaming. What did you just say? Say that again, you son of a bitch. You're in 301, right? You just wait. I'm coming over to have a little chat. I wasn't about to back down. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a heavy chef's knife, and waited by the door. For a moment later, a furious pounding shook my door. I yanked it open and swung the knife. Kevin's eyes went wide. He stumbled back instinctively. Are you crazy? You're trying to kill me. I brought the knife down hard on the concrete wall of the hallway, sending a shower of sparks flying. I even managed to slice a mosquito in half that had landed there. You were attempting to force entry into my home with clear hostile intent. This is self-defense. Besides, you've damaged my door with all that kicking. Pay up, or I'm calling the cops. Kevin glanced at the steel door, which only had a few scuff marks from his shoes. He scrambled back to his own apartment door, unlocked it, and shot me a venomous look. Pay you? Screw you. This isn't over. You just wait. Later that evening, the head of the condo association, a decent guy named Mark, sent me a message. Man, that family is poison. Calling the cops does nothing. They'll just retaliate the next day. You just got back. You should probably just try to lie low. I texted back with a smile. Mark, sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. I don't care if she's pregnant. We're all human here. Why should I put up with their crap? In the middle of the night, just as I'd fallen asleep, I was jolted awake by a rhythmic thumping on the shared wall. Thump, thump, thump. So he wanted to play dirty. I pulled out the bass transducer I kept for just such occasions and attached it to the wall. Bzzzzzzzzzzz. A deep, vibrating hum filled the air, far louder and more penetrating than his pathetic knocking. A few minutes later, the pounding on my front door started again. I opened it, knife still in hand. This time, he was holding a steak knife, eyeing me warily. What the hell is that noise? Don't think I don't know it's you. Didn't you read my post? You're disturbing my wife. I'll kill you. I stepped out into the hallway. And you knocking on the wall doesn't disturb your wife? Get your own house in order. You want to dance? Let's dance. If you don't have the guts, then stop knocking on my door. Get lost. Kevin was all bark and no bite. He was clearly not ready for a knife fight. He scoffed and stormed back into his apartment. The knocking stopped. I turned off the wall shaker. I knew this was far from over. If he wanted to play, I was ready. I turned on the TV to watch a movie, but suddenly, the power cut out. I checked my utility app. My account had a balance of several $100s. My eyes narrowed. I went out to the utility closet in the hallway. Sure enough, the circuit breaker to my apartment had been flipped. That bastard. I flipped it back on. As soon as I got back inside, the power died again. I didn't even have to guess who it was. I went back and flipped the switch again. This time, his door opened. Kevin was standing there with a smug, malicious grin, running back and forth so late at night. You're the one disturbing the peace now. I should call the cops on you. I shot him a sideways glance and went back inside. The power immediately cut out a third time. I chuckled, went back to the utility closet, and flipped the breaker one last time. This time, I waited for a few minutes. Once, twice, but there won't be a third time. I went back inside. The power stayed on. Then I opened my door again. Kevin was standing there in front of the breaker panel, looking flustered. One of his hands was flat against the switch for my unit. I shrugged. What's up? Trying to kill my power again. He tugged at his hand, but it wouldn't move. His fingers seemed to be stuck to the metal lever. He gritted his teeth. Don't accuse me of things. My power went out. I was just checking the panel. Must have accidentally touched yours. Damn thing. Why won't it come off? I pulled a small tube from my pocket and smiled. To prevent malicious tampering, I coated my breaker switch with a little crazy glue. Just applied it. How's it working? They say it's a permanent bond. The only way to get it off is with boiling water. Kevin's eyes bugged out. You absolute psycho. I'm going to kill you. Just then, Brittany ran out of their apartment in a panic, holding a kettle. Before Kevin could stop her, she poured the steaming water directly onto his hand. Damn it, you idiot. Are you crazy? You believe everything he says? He shrieked. The hot water instantly blistered his skin, but the shock and pain allowed him to rip his hand free from the breaker, tearing off a layer of skin in the process. At least he wouldn't be spending the night stuck to a wall. I smiled pleasantly. You should really keep your hands to yourself. Next time it might not be glue. It might be a faulty wire. You wouldn't want to get electrocuted. Ignoring their sputtering rage, I went back into my apartment with a grin. I slept wonderfully that night. 7 the next day was quiet. I knew that, with a couple this shameless, they were probably plotting something big. Sure enough, that afternoon, I got a call from a UPS driver. He said he'd left a package for me at my front door. My eyes narrowed. That package was as good as gone. I used to have packages left at my door all the time, but that was before the Millers moved in. Now that we were enemies, they'd definitely mess with it. When I got home that evening, the doorstep was empty. Kevin and Brittany watched me from their doorway, smirking. What's the matter? Don't want to go inside? Is your apartment haunted? I looked at them coldly. Did you steal my package? Brittany scoffed. Don't go pointing fingers. You have any proof? Without proof, that's slander and I'll sue you. The package contained a set of surgical scalpels I'd ordered. Useless to them, but I had no proof. I let it go. Back in my apartment, I placed an order for same-day delivery, a full skincare set from La Mer. When it arrived, I carefully emptied the expensive creams and lotions and refilled the jars with My own urine. Let's see you mess with this. I quietly placed the box outside my door. A few minutes later, I watched through my peephole as Brittany crept out, saw the La Mer box, and snatched it with a triumphant grin. Not long after, a blood-curdling scream echoed from next door. Kevin, is my face ruined? It burns. Honey, why do you smell? Oh my God, why does your face smell like pee? An enraged Kevin, with Brittany in tow, began hammering on my door. You son of a bitch, get out here. You put pee in a moisturizer? If the stress affects my wife and something happens to the baby, I'll kill you. I opened the door in feigned confusion. What are you talking about? Oh, by the way, have you seen my La Mer set? I just left it outside my door for a second, and it vanished. I should probably call the police. A $5,000 skincare set is grand larceny. That's prison time. Kevin and Brittany froze, their faces paling at the mention of prison. Kevin pointed a trembling finger at me. Fine. You'd sacrifice a $5,000 product just to mess with us. You're a real piece of work. This isn't over. After they left, I discreetly installed a miniature security camera over my doorway. The Cold War was continuing, and I needed evidence. The next morning, I opened my door and was hit by a wave of such a foul stench that it drove me back inside. My entire front door had been smeared with feces. Kevin and Brittany were standing outside their apartment, eating sunflower seeds, looking smug. Whoa, what's that smell? You have some weird hobbies, man. Smearing crap on your own door. I suppressed my disgust, knowing my camera had captured everything. I was saving it all up, waiting to settle the score later. So I just smiled. There are a lot of stray dogs in the neighborhood. Probably one of them. No big deal. No use getting mad at an animal. Kevin's face darkened. Who are you calling a dog? Brittany turned pale with rage, pretending to feel dizzy. Honey, the smell is making me sick. Let's go inside. There's no point talking to this lowlife. Kevin shot a glob of spit in my direction before they retreated into their apartment. So, smearing feces on my door, huh? Don't worry. The main event is still to come. Our floor has 3 apartments per elevator. The Millers were in the middle, 302. I was in 301. The unit on the right, 303, was occupied by a mysterious man. Just as I was plotting my revenge, the door to 303 opened. A man in a baseball cap stepped out, carrying a suitcase. I gave him a slight nod. Heading out, he didn't say a word and got on the elevator. The moment the doors closed, my eyes narrowed. That man, he looked exactly like the suspect in the recent string of serial killings featured on the news. The city had been terrorized by a brutal murderer who not only killed his victims, but also dismembered them. In the only piece of security footage released, the killer was wearing a cap, but you could clearly see he was missing an ear. And this guy in 303 was also missing an ear. The most chilling detail? The killer's victims were all pregnant women. A slow smile spread across my face. My neighbor is an entitled jerk, and my neighbor's neighbor is a monster. How did I get so lucky? This was going to be fun. That afternoon, I bought a bottle of industrial-grade odorant, the kind used in chemical plants, and sprayed it all over the Miller's doorway. When Kevin and Brittany came home that evening, the stench hit them like a physical blow. They started gagging and vomiting right there in the hallway. I watched their misery on my security camera feed, laughing my ass off. Kevin, heaving and retching, started pounding on my door. I opened it with a smile. Wrong door. You live next door. Between dry heaves, he managed to yell, Did you, wretch, put something on our door? Why does it smell so bad? Brittany glared at me. This is disgusting. Whoever did this is a real sicko. I hope their kids are born without. Without. She couldn't finish. I just smiled. Seems there's a real menace in the building. Someone smeared crap on my door this morning. Maybe we should call the police? They both froze, unable to respond. Just then, the elevator dinged. I knew it was the killer from next door. I lowered my voice. Don't be so quick to blame me. It could have been any of the other neighbors you've pissed off. Then I shut my door. At the same time, the one-eared man from 303 stepped out of the elevator, suitcase in hand. He glanced at the miserable, stinking couple and started to walk toward his apartment. But Kevin, accustomed to bullying everyone, instinctively blocked his path. Hey, what's in the suitcase? Did you steal something from my place? Open it up. Let me see. The man, one ear, looked up, his eyes cold and empty. He didn't say anything, but Kevin wouldn't let it go. He puffed out his chest. My wife is pregnant. You better not mess with us. Now open the damn suitcase. One Ear's eyes flickered with a strange, excited light. His voice was a dry rasp. She's pregnant? Hiv. Kevin's head tilted. Yeah, she is. So didn't you see the rules I posted in the group? Are you blind? Did I say you could use the elevator? The noise could have stressed out my wife. I'll kill you. Kevin stepped closer, then recoiled, pinching his nose. And what's that smell? Your suitcase stinks. Is that smell by my door coming from you? Open it. Now. One Ear smiled a chilling, thin-lipped smile. You really want to see? Kevin shoved him. Yeah, I do. Open it and show me what smells so bad. You've ruined our evening. You're paying for emotional damages. Watching my monitor, even my own heart started to beat a little faster. One Ear stared at Kevin for a few seconds, then licked his lips as he glanced at Brittany. You want to see? Then open it yourself. Kevin knelt and unzipped the suitcase. Oh God. 11. The second the suitcase opened, Kevin fell back, landing hard on his butt. Brittany gasped and flattened herself against the wall, trembling. A human head, streaked with blood, had rolled out onto the floor. Kevin's face was as white as a sheet. He scrambled onto his knees, bowing his head. Sir, I'm so sorry. Please, spare us. We didn't see anything. I have terrible vision. 20/800. I can't see a thing without my glasses. Brittany forced a shaky smile. Mister, we were just kidding around. It's all a misunderstanding. We're neighbors. You go on with your business. We'll just be heading home now, okay? One Ear let out a low, gravelly chuckle. What are you so scared of? It's a mannequin head from a fashion display. I cut my hand carrying it. That's why there's blood on it. The blood started to smell, that's all. Kevin and Brittany squinted. Sure enough, on closer inspection, it looked like a realistic but fake model head. They both let out a sigh of relief. Kevin's bravado returned instantly. Are you some kind of freak? Who carries a mannequin head home? You scare the hell out of me. You're paying for my emotional distress. Brittany's eyes lit up. She clutched her stomach and groaned theatrically. Ow, Kevin, my stomach hurts. He scared me so bad. Make him pay for our medical bills. Kevin grabbed One Ear by the collar. You hear that? My wife's in pain. You're paying up today, or you're a dead man. One Ear just smiled. I'll pay. I'll pay whatever you want. But all my cash is inside. Why don't you come in with me? I have a special surprise for you. Kevin and Brittany exchanged a smug look and started to follow One Ear into his apartment. I watched the monitor, holding my breath. But just then, Brittany genuinely bent over, her face contorted in pain. Kevin tugged her arm. Honey, stop acting. Let's go get the money. No, it's not an act. She gasped, her face pale. Something's wrong. It really hurts. Kevin, take me to the hospital. Now. Kevin panicked, pulling his foot back from One Ear's doorway. He scooped Brittany up and ran for the elevator. Through my camera, I saw One Ear's expression flicker with dark disappointment. It was late when Kevin and Brittany finally got home. Kevin immediately went on a tirade in the Facebook group. My wife is having a threatened miscarriage. We're lucky we got to the ER in time, or we would have lost a baby. I laid out the rules for all of you, and you ignored them. Are you all blind? If anything happens to my baby, you're all murderers. From now on, I see anyone breaking the rules. I, Kevin Miller, will kill your entire family. The group fell silent. No one dared to respond. A few minutes later, a new sound started. Thump, thump, thump. It sounded like someone was chopping meat with a heavy cleaver. What the hell was going on at this hour? I heard Kevin start shouting next door, and then he was at my door again, pounding. I opened it to see him, his eyes bloodshot with rage. He tried to shove his way inside. It's the middle of the night, and you're still making a racket? I told you my wife can't handle any noise. If we lose this baby, it's on you. I held up my hands. Are you sure you want to come in? You might not like what you see. Kevin froze mid-step. He was standing right in front of me, but the thumping sound was still going. It wasn't coming from my apartment. He cocked his head, listening intently. The sound seemed to be coming from 303, from One Ear's apartment. I gestured with my chin. See? Nothing to do with me this time. Kevin, furious, spun around and stormed over to 303 to give the other neighbor a piece of his mind. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. If he had actually come inside and seen what was in my apartment, I would have had to kill him. Heh, I watched from my doorway as Kevin hammered on 303's door. After a moment, it opened. Kevin recoiled, his jaw dropping. One ear stood there holding a meat cleaver. His face and shirt were spattered with blood. He looked like a demon. One ear raised a hand and wiped a smear of blood from his cheek, smiling. "Can I help you with something?" His voice was low and raspy, which, combined with the blood, was utterly terrifying. Kevin was petrified. He stammered, "WH, what are you doing? Why are you covered in blood?" One ear's smile widened. He looked down at his cleaver with a demented fondness. "I'm making chili for tomorrow. Got some really fresh meat today. Want to join me? Where's your wife? She should come over, too." Kevin's face twitched. He scrambled backward, babbling, "No. No thanks. You enjoy. I'm just going home now," as Kevin practically fell over himself to get away. One ear licked his lips. He saw me standing in my doorway and gave me a curt nod. I, however, smiled back. "What kind of chili? Sound good. Mind if I join?" One ear paused, then shook his head. "Not enough to share. Maybe some other time." I gave him a knowing smirk and nodded. Kevin Miller, a classic bully. Tough with the weak, a coward with the strong. The next morning, he was at it again, posting a series of 60-second voice memos in the group. "Because you people refuse to follow my rules, my child was almost lost. So none of you are off the hook. Every single one of you is going to compensate me for the medical bills. I'm thinking $1,000 per person, $2,000 for seniors and kids. And if you have a dog, it's $5,000 per dog." After a long silence, one neighbor finally replied, "This is ridiculous. Your wife's high-risk pregnancy has nothing to do with us. This is straight-up extortion." Brittany herself jumped in. "You're in 702, aren't you? So you're not paying? Fine. I'm coming up right now to sit outside your door. If you don't pay, I'm calling the cops and telling them the baby is yours. Let's see how you handle that." Kevin added, with a sinister laugh, "Listen up, neighbors. Anyone who doesn't pay, I'm taking this whole story to the internet. We'll let the whole world be the judge. I'll make you pay, I'll get you fired from your jobs, and I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of people you are. Let's see who's laughing then." Everyone was floored by the couple's insanity. Then, Kevin started going door to door demanding money. He charged double for homes with kids or seniors, and he tried to bleed dog owners dry. If anyone refused, Brittany would collapse on the floor in front of their door, wailing that the stress was causing her to miscarry and that they had to pay. Eventually, they knocked on my door. I opened it. Kevin leaned against the frame with his hip cocked. "Pay up, buddy. Just you in here, so that's $1,000. Cash or Venmo." I crossed my arms and smiled. "But your wife hasn't had a miscarriage yet, has she? Let's wait until it actually happens." Brittany flew into a rage. "What did you just say? I'll rip your tongue out." She lunged at me like a feral cat, grabbing my arm and trying to scratch me. I caught her hands and pushed her away. Because she was pregnant, I barely used any force. But Brittany stumbled back, did a comically awkward little hop, and then collapsed to the ground in a heap, sobbing. "He's killing me. He's attacking a pregnant woman. My baby. We're losing the baby." Kevin looked at me with venom in his eyes. "You assaulted her. Now you're paying $10,000 in medical fees. Or I'm calling the police and having you arrested." I noticed he was holding his phone, already recording. It was a setup. I laughed. "A setup? Really? You can stop the act. The performance is a little weak." Just then, the door to 303 opened. One ear stepped out, saw Brittany on the floor, and frowned, his cold eyes sweeping over us. Then he walked past with his suitcase and left. As he passed, my lips curled into a slight smile. Kevin and Brittany kept up their charade for a while, but I refused to give them a dime. After realizing it was useless, Kevin pointed at me. "You just wait." Then they left. 14. That night, they posted the video online. It was heavily edited, of course. It only showed the part where I pushed Brittany and the clip of her crying on the floor. Kevin's caption read, "We're just neighbors. I never did anything to this guy, but he attacks my pregnant wife. Does he have a death wish? She's pregnant, for God's sake." The internet, easily swayed, took the bait. The comments were brutal. What kind of man attacks a woman, let alone a pregnant one? Scum. I hope the mother and baby are okay. Sister, I'm on your side. Putting the facts aside for a moment, even if they had a dispute, is it ever okay to push a woman like that? A guy like this deserves to be alone forever. I hope his kids are born without. The story went viral. I ignored it. Instead, I quietly picked the lock on one year's apartment door and let myself in. Don't ask how. You don't get by in this world without a few useful skills. Inside, I found something truly depraved. The man was a monster. He had hundreds of candid photos of women pinned to his walls, many of them pregnant. A gallery of his obsessions. His computer was filled with disgusting, voyeuristic videos. And there, on the wall, was a photo of Brittany, also taken without her knowledge. Underneath it, he had written, "Progress, 50%, so he hadn't gotten to her yet. Knowing the depths of his depravity, a plan began to form in my mind. I smiled and let myself out. 15. Kevin and Brittany found me again, looking smug. Scare now? Huh. Pay up, or that video stays online forever. When I didn't answer, Brittany sneered, "I'm a pregnant woman carrying my husband's child. I am a protected class. You'd better do what I say, or the internet mob will tear you to shreds." My eyebrows shot up. I smiled. "Is it really your husband's child?" Brittany froze for a second, her eyes darting away. "Shut up and give us the money, or I'll make your life a living hell." I shrugged, closed the door in their faces, and uploaded my own video to the internet. It was the full, unedited footage from my security camera. I also included screenshots of Kevin's 10-point manifesto from the Facebook group and all their abusive, threatening, and extortionist messages. When people saw the list of rules, they were dumbfounded. Rule number 1, no one is to be on their phone when my wife is nearby. The radiation is dangerous. Rule number 2, everyone in this building will be in bed by 9 p.m. No TVs allowed. Rule number 3, all dog owners will humanely resolve their pet situation. Dogs carry bacteria. The online comments exploded. Holy crap, is this guy for real? Is his wife pregnant with a second coming? It's your kid, not the whole building's kid. Why should everyone bend over backwards for you? Next, he'll tell everyone to stop breathing so his wife can have all the oxygen. Then they saw the footage of the couple's antics at my door, including the clip from the day before when they smeared feces on it. They saw Brittany deliberately throwing herself at me, and my gentle push that resulted in her Oscar-worthy collapse on the floor. The act was too fake. Anyone could see it was a blatant setup. The case was solved. The online mob that had supported Brittany instantly turned on her. What kind of horrible people was I defending? This family is pure evil. They should be arrested. This is textbook extortion. A few contrarians remained. Putting the facts aside for a moment, is the man completely blameless? What would have happened if he just let her hit him? But their voices were drowned out by the overwhelming tide of public opinion. Online, the storm was raging. Kevin and Brittany were completely stunned. But the next video I released would push them into the abyss. My security camera, pointed down the hall, had captured several interesting moments. Clips of Kevin leaving for work in the morning, only for another man to knock on his door a few minutes later. Clips of Brittany greeting this stranger with an intimate embrace and a passionate kiss. The audio, faint but clear, shattered everyone's perception. "Sweetheart, what took you so long? Baby missed you. You're pregnant. It's not like we can do anything. Jerk, can't you just hold me? And whose baby do you think this is?" And there it was, the smoking gun. The child Kevin was so maniacally trying to protect wasn't his. The internet went wild, digging into Brittany and the strangers' lives. They had met online 2 months ago. Hotel records showed they'd been together more than a dozen times in the last month alone. Kevin was the ultimate cuckold. In the building's Facebook group, the other residents who saw the video fell silent. A little while later, I saw that Kevin and Brittany Miller had both left the group. They probably wouldn't have the nerve to show their faces in the building again. But I knew it wasn't over. A man with a temper as vicious as Kevin's wouldn't just let this go. Sure enough, that night, Kevin cornered me in the alley behind the building. He had 2 big, muscular guys with him. Kevin's smile was pure evil. "You're a real tough guy, aren't you? What do you have to say for yourself now?" I shrugged. "The kid isn't yours. Just get a divorce. Why are you coming after me?" Kevin's voice cracked with hysteria. "You ruined everything. I'm going to kill you tonight." I discreetly started a voice recording on my phone. Then I nodded. Okay, you call the shots. But just tell me the real story first. I'm curious." Kevin, holding a knife and confident I couldn't escape, decided to talk. He'd been a hothead in his youth, always getting into fights. One time, he'd taken a knife to the gut, an injury that had left him impotent. Brittany was his high school sweetheart. She'd stayed with him even after the injury. But Kevin's family was obsessed with carrying on the family name. He was the last male heir. He couldn't fail them. So he had encouraged Brittany to find someone else just for that purpose. After some convincing, she'd agreed and gotten pregnant. Their plan was to have the baby and give his parents the grandchild they demanded. But now, thanks to me, the entire world knew the child wasn't his. Kevin's voice trembled with rage. Now my family despises me, my coworkers mock me, and it's all your fault. Tonight you die. I feigned innocence. Murder is illegal, you know. And if you go to prison, what will happen to Brittany and her baby? Kevin lunged, slashing with a knife. The two goons charged in behind him. I moved smoothly, sidestepping the lethal blow. A sharp kick sent Kevin's knife clattering across the pavement. I followed up with two quick punches, breaking both goons' noses. They stared at me, shocked by my fighting skill. Kevin grabbed a nearby trash can and hoisted it to throw at me, but I took him down with a quick combination, leaving him on the ground, coughing up blood. Then I called the police, and I showed them the video I had just recorded on my phone. Kevin and his friends had premeditated the assault and attacked me with a deadly weapon. I had acted in self-defense and bore no responsibility. Kevin spent a week in the hospital, then a week in a holding cell. During that time, a lot of interesting things happened. First, on the wall in One Ear's apartment, the progress bar next to Brittany's photo began to change. 70%, 80%, 90%. Then one night, I saw One Ear slip into the Miller's apartment. He didn't leave until morning. The progress bar hit 100%. After that, the two of them were inseparable, a match made in hell. The night before Kevin was due to be released, disaster struck. Activities got too intense. Brittany had to be rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. She'd had a miscarriage, a real one. That's when I knew my plan could begin. While One Ear was at the hospital with Brittany, I slipped into his apartment. I planted several incriminating items in hidden corners, then carefully wiped away all my fingerprints and traces. All I had to do was wait for the fireworks. Kevin was released from jail and immediately got a call from the hospital. He was stunned to hear about Brittany's miscarriage. He raced home in a blind rage, grabbed a cleaver from the kitchen, and stormed over to 303. One Ear opened the door and froze as a cleaver flew at his face. "You son of a bitch!" Kevin screamed. "You made my wife Miss Scary." One Ear dodged frantically. "Are you insane? That baby wasn't even yours." "I don't care if it was mine," Kevin roared. "You slept with my wife. For that, you die." Then Kevin's eyes fell on the wall of photos. Photos of other women, and photos of Brittany. His eyes turned blood red. His rage hit its peak. He brought the cleaver down, hacking deep into One Ear's leg. One Ear howled in pain and smashed a heavy vase over Kevin's head. The two men fought with the desperate strength of those trying to kill, not just injure. The battle raged for hours, until another neighbor finally called the police. When the police arrived, the apartment was a slaughterhouse. Blood was everywhere. One Ear was dead, his body covered in over 100 stab wounds. Kevin was still breathing, but a massive wound in the back of his head was bleeding profusely. But in the course of their investigation, the police made a shocking discovery in One Ear's apartment: human remains. Body parts. They had accidentally solved the city's infamous serial killer case. The evidence in the apartment, combined with One Ear's physical description, was overwhelming. The case was closed. Kevin Miller, for taking down a notorious killer, was hailed as a hero. He was even given a commendation, but his injuries were too severe. He was declared brain dead, a vegetable. When Brittany was discharged from the hospital, she collected the reward money for Kevin's heroism and brought her husband home to care for him. And just like that, the evil in our building was gone. One night, there was another knock on my door. I opened it to find Brittany, looking at me with a seductive smile. "Hey, I just watched a scary movie, and I'm a little freaked out. With Kevin like this, he can't exactly protect me. Could you keep me company?" I smiled and let her in, pouring her a glass of water. "You're not going to try to extort me again, are you?" Her eyes flickered around my living room, and she frowned. A large, polished femur bone was mounted on my wall like a piece of art. She chewed her lip. "No, no more of that. I don't think I can handle being in that house alone. Then she froze. In the corner of my bedroom, visible from the living room, stood a full human skeleton. She gave a nervous laugh. So, are you a doctor? I just shook my head, my expression cold. Then, why do you have all this stuff? I didn't answer. I just smiled at her. She composed herself. Look, my husband is a vegetable, and I have all this reward money. But I'm lonely. We could, you know, help each other out. You don't have a girlfriend. What do you think? I still said nothing. She sighed. I wasn't really scared before, but now, knowing I was living next to a serial killer, it gives me the creeps. That man was pure evil. Only had one ear, and he preyed on pregnant women. It's terrifying. I slowly reached up to my right ear, hooked a finger underneath it, and peeled it off, revealing a scarred stump underneath. It was a prosthetic. I smiled at her, a wide, empty smile. I only have one ear, too. Brittany stared, her eyes widening in disbelief and horror. I looked down, speaking in a low murmur, almost to myself. The guy in 303 was just a sick collector. The real monster was me. Hiv, hiv, hiv. Brittany shot to her feet, her body shaking violently. But I had already locked the door, and my apartment was fully soundproofed. I pulled on a pair of latex medical gloves. My voice is soft, final whisper. Don't worry, we won't be disturbing the neighbors tonight.